Hey everybody, it's Adam from IHP and we're here for JC Unplugged. We've been gone for a few weeks. In part, we had a tremendous turnout from about 20-25 people from Brazil last week for a week-long mentorship. That was their, I think most of them was their second year here. We had a lot of new faces as well, but it was, as Carlos will tell you, it was a huge, huge success.
Yeah, a lot of energy. And today, this week, we have another mentor. So our mentorship program is growing, so if you're very curious about that, please call IHP or visit us at ihpfit.com and you'll find plenty of information there on the mentorship.
But we're back on track with JC Unplugged, and like always, we just jump right into the questions here. Number one, when is the proper time? Is it pre or post workout to use foam roller or any other myofascial release techniques?
You'll have a lot of opinions on this. In my opinion, it doesn't really matter, to tell you the truth. That's like massage. Depending on what kind of massage you can use before, if you use a deep tissue massage, you're going to relax. It's not the right thing to do prior. So if you're going to biofoam rolling for the purpose of relaxing the muscle, I don't think that's a good thing to do before, because what you want the muscles to be activated. You want them to be springy. You want your nervous system to be excited so you can have the reflexes available to you. And massage, any kind of deep massage, slow massage, where you lay on a nerve or you lay on a muscle and you get it to relax, puts the central nervous system to sleep. With that being said, if you have some tight muscles, some sore muscles, it might be okay to run it through a little bit and just get a little bit of that initial soreness out. That would be an application. If you're going to go into deep rolling, I would do it afterwards. So I'm not huge on rolling. I'm not huge on that kind of stuff. For maintenance, yes, but I'm not huge on rolling, especially before. Why? Before I had my hip replacements, I was instructed to foam roll because I had synergistic dominance. I was neurally inhibited. I had an IT band, and they came up with the reasons, 50 million ways to think about it. And you know that I toured with the top guys in the world, from Gary Gray to Greg Cook to Michael Clark, everybody in between. Everybody saw me, everybody diagnosed me. I still ended up with 2 artificial hips. And I'm a good student. If they would tell me to roll, I would roll. If they told me to do some exercises, I would do them. What happens is, when your IT band is tight and you have to roll it because it's tight chronically, it's the alarm in your house going off. You don't turn off the alarm and go, everything is fine. No, if the alarm in the house goes off, you gotta go in and check what's setting it off. If it's a burglar, you're being robbed, call the police. If it's a fire, call the fire department. The whole thing's gonna be burning down, instead of just turning it off. A chronic tight muscle, especially the IT band, is an indication that something is wrong. And all the rolling in the world will just take away the alarm and you'll be able to squat the 300 pounds, which is the thing making the stuff worse. In my case, nobody asked for x-rays. Everybody gave me exercise, everybody made diagnoses, and what happened was my IT band was trying to protect my knees and my hips from the arthritis that were there. So what happened? I rolled. I took away the pain, and I kept competing in Olympic weightlifting, and I kept squatting 300-400 pounds, and eventually I had no more hips and now I have no knees. So when you start foaming and you start massaging and you're foaming something chronic, stop what you're doing and find out why it's chronic to begin with. That's what you have to go after. The foaming, it's okay to do occasional, but if you need constant foaming, you're in trouble to begin with.
Okay. I think you're very passionate about the foam roller.
Well, when you lose 2 hips, you get very passionate about some things.
This was a good segue. When performing a squat, what are the key coaching cues to correct for a client who's got that knee over the toe pattern?
Number one, again, hips back. Hips back, big chest. Now, you say hips back to some people, they'll lift the right leg, because that's the way they're wired. Paul Chek used to call them motor morons, You got people who are not in touch with their bodies. Like some athletes fall in that category. You say hips back, they raise their toes. You say big chest, they move their head forwards, and you go, how did you make that connection? It doesn't matter. That's why they squat. So my favorite cue is not going to work with everybody. So I like the big chest, drive your hips back. Sometimes they end up in a good morning. Okay? And Mike Boyle says that the Squat is not a leg exercise, it's a back exercise. I beg to differ. I beg to differ. A squat is a leg exercise. A bad squat becomes a back exercise. And the reason that people end up in a back position in a squat is because their legs are not strong. Not because their back are not strong, because their legs are not strong. This is why it happens. If you're here, okay, my lever arm and my L5 is not big right now. It's kind of short because I'm upright. But this requires a lot of legs to come up. If my legs are not strong, my problem solving says, I want to extend my legs, but they're not strong enough to drive the weight. So what do? I drive the weight forward, takes it off the legs, and now I can straighten my leg without pushing the weight. The problem with that is you go from a squat to a good morning, which increases the lever arm of the back. Now it becomes a back problem. And that's why people hurt their backs when they squat, because they don't have leg strength. And of course, when they get in a back position, there's not enough back strength that can save that, right? So the key thing is start with light weight. Create a good foundation of the legs so you can stay upright. The more upright you are, the less load on the back. And then let it be a leg exercise. Got it? So it's big chest, drive back with the hips a little bit. Wiggle your toes, stay on the ankles. Those are my big things. Big chest, hips back, wiggle your toes. Okay, so there you have it. A squat is a leg exercise. A bad squat becomes a back exercise, and one that you can't win.
That's good. I like that. What is some of the science and purpose of using vibration platforms?
The preeminent guy with the vibration was Bosco and Cardinelli, or Cardinelli, however you want to pronounce his name. The Italians were the ones who really put it on the map with 30 kilohertz. Now it's 50 kilohertz, 55 kilohertz. They have 50 million protocols. They don't know what works, why it works. All they know is that vibration, okay, especially the 30 hertz, but like I said, other hertz have been used now effectively, is the only thing that can make a muscle relax but stay nearly excited, where it can do stuff. Normally, for a muscle to relax and get it to elongate, you would have to stretch it statically. Well, we all know that that turns off the central nervous system, turns off the reflexes, and the muscle can't do work. That's why they say stretching before a strength program is terrible, because you can't exert strength. The researchers stretch you and immediately contract you. In the NFL, they stretch you, then they go in, tape up, suit up, and half an hour, 40 minutes later, they come out and start warming up. By that time, whatever stretching you did is gone. So it's kind of messed up. Nobody ever stretches the muscle and immediately uses it in real life, okay? So that has to be reevaluated. But anyways, when you vibrate a muscle, it's the only time that you can actually reach the ground or increase sit and reach measurement, and immediately jump higher. And they try to explain the afferent motor patterns and this and that, and the gamma motor neurons and this. They still don't know. It's all theory. They don't know why vibration, at least to my knowledge, why vibration is the only modality that can relax a muscle and make it elongate, and at the same time keep it neurally activated enough to be able to exert more power acutely. And we all know that if you go on for 30 seconds, then off a minute, 30 seconds, off a minute, you do 5 rounds of that, rest 5 minutes, and you repeat that 2 more, we know that at 30 hertz can increase testosterone by 10% and growth hormone by 300%. So on your off days, that may be as a possible recovery. So to answer, how do we use our stuff? Maybe a little warm up. If the person's sore, we always use it there. That I like. If you're a little sore, do a little bit of vibration, and that way you can remove the soreness a little bit and still be activated for the workout. That I like better than platform.
Okay.
Very sexy music.
Yeah.
Oh, what's up?
You thought I was just airing it out?
I thought you were going to tell me about the music that just turned on.
The question is, if someone's tight and want a foam roll before training, would it not, if they foam rolled and then went on a vibration platform, would that maybe undo those negative side effects?
That's never been studied. So if you relax the muscle through some form of massage,
Yeah.
okay, and then activate it during a vibration, will that restore
Right.
whatever that hasn't been studied?
To me, it almost seems like almost the same as if you were to foam roll and then maybe do a dynamic warm up outside or something to that effect. And then-
It could be, it could be. How long, depending also, how long the stretch, or, because remember, stretching is stretching, and pressure or massage is also a form of tension.
Exactly.
How deep does it have to be? How long does it have to be sustained? And how long is that effect kept? Is it 30 seconds? Is it 5 minutes? Is it 2 hours?
Yeah.
Can we undo it? Those are all things that have never been studied. So all this practice, that's why they say programming is more of a science than it is a science. I mean, more of an art than a science, because all of this stuff can make huge differences, and you're never going to know. So the only way that you guys would know is easily try it, and then see if somebody's still snappy. And if you guys want to,
Test
just
their vert.
yeah, just test their verts. Hey man, just out of curiosity, do this. All you gotta do is do it a couple of times, and if the same thing happens 2 or 3 times, you can pretty much say it's a go. That's how we ended up doing the complex training that we do. How do you think it happened? Because back in the day, they were using Olympic weightlifting as a warm-up. Radcliffe did some studies. And so that all the power stuff before doing something came up. And believe it or not, at Millennium, when we were at 1,500 square feet, we had 8-foot ceilings. So we had a tennis ball hanging from Velcro, and we were trying to hit it with our head because everybody could jump beyond it. As a matter of fact, the lynches were there, and the only way we could test them was we took a panel off the 8-inch, and they were going through the 8-inch all the way to the roof to try to measure their verticals, because we only had 8 feet to work with. But a lot of kids could go up and you could measure the vertical from their head, right? So I would go up to that tennis ball, couldn't hit it, and all I had to do was snatch with 60 pounds 2 or 3 times, and just go boom, and it was just normal. And it was always, we could prove it to a father, we could prove it to anybody, you know? So that's when we came up with the 5+5. We said, you know what? This works. So you might want to try that.
Yeah.
And when you guys try something like that, and you say, hey, Carlos, for sure, I have done this with 3 different people. They don't know nothing. I tried it, and it comes up. Then it becomes a protocol in here. When it becomes a protocol in here, it appears in a protocol, in a certification, in a mentorship, in a book. And that's how IHP has become IHP.
All right. Got a couple more questions here.
Okay.
All right. Kind of a long question, but I think we'll get to the point of it. When it comes to generating and transferring forces, why do many still reference that force generation starts with the legs, whereas here we teach it starts from the core out? Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Because we like to know where everything starts, and it can't start in the legs, because the legs have they're not just legs, they have something on top. So the legs don't have a mind of their own, because everything is derived from the brain or the spine. Got it? So it can't be from the legs. Okay? If my leg is going to drive my hips in this direction, okay? Normally it's because I'm swinging something or I'm going in this direction. If my legs drive this hip in this direction and this is not stable, I'm going to break that area. So it can't possibly start at the legs. Because if it starts at the legs, then they need what they call a forward loop, which has been shown that exists. And a forward loop is, before I do something, I throw a forward reflex to make sure that this is prepared for what I'm about to do, in which case it doesn't start at the legs, it starts here. Okay, when Creswell did his work, where forward flexion was initiated under alert and non-alert conditions, they anticipated that if I was blindfolded, they had a big rod coming out from a vest, boom, they dropped the condition, they dropped the weight. The weight was pretty good, like 7 kilos, out about 18 inches from the chest. So that thing's jarring pretty quick. They had alert conditions, bam! The TVA fired first, but I call it the core, right? Then they had non-alert conditions, it means blindfolded and the tester dropped. Well, they anticipated that, of course, I don't know what's going to go on, so I can't anticipate, and they anticipated that the back would be firing and then to decelerate. And what happened was that forward loop, it fired the front first and then the back. So that caught them by surprise. They said, wow, there's obviously a forward loop, because the first thing that's felt is this. And as soon as that's felt, it throws a forward loop to create a stiff unit out of this, and then the paraspinal is fired. So we know that those forward loops occur. Okay, either way, it has to start here. I don't care if it's TVA, internal oblique, external oblique, I don't know. It starts there. Because this has to be secure, so when it goes down and hits that force reaction off of that fixed point, and this moves, if this is rotation for this to follow, this has to be tight. If this is a translation of frontal plane or whatever, linear displacement, that has to be secure. Because this has to be secure before anything moves. So Hodges' research, Creswell's research, Richardson, Joll, all of them show something in here firing first. Before the legs. So we know, that's why we say this goes first, then this. So when somebody talks about why is the core important? Well, the core is important because that's where everything originates. And if this can only hold 100 pounds of force, and this can provide 300, this is going to be inhibited to 100 pounds, because it's not going to blow the spinal column out of place, right? So the easiest way we can allow people to use all of their potential down here is by having this hold bar. Again, priority goes to stiffening this segment here so this guy can fire to full capacity. And that's what we go first here, then the legs, then up to the distribution centers.
Love it. Okay, is it better to train in the morning or the afternoon? Seems like a, depending on what.
My whole thing is it's better to train when you feel the most energetic. With your schedule having to take precedence over a lot of things. Now, that question may come from what is the most effective time to do cardio? Fasted cardio or non-fasted cardio? And I've answered this before. Yes, they say you can do X amount percentage more fat burning in the morning because of your cortisol levels, you've already burned through your glucose, nothing left but fat, all of that is garbage. Because if I'm tired in the morning, I'm not going to give you a good effort in the morning. All right? So maybe the 20%, 30%, 40% amounts to nothing because I don't even want to run to 6 miles because I'm not good in the morning. Even if I made myself miserable to do that in the morning, what is 300% of 9 grams? It's like nothing. 50% of 9 grams. Ooh, you burn 4.5 more grams by doing it in the morning. Hell, I can save that in a teaspoon of mayonnaise and be done with it and not have to run in the morning. So it's all about, am I going to spend $10,000 to make my bike half a pound lighter, or do I just lose half a pound of body weight and that doesn't cost me anything? Probably got rid of the fat that I didn't need to begin with, and here I am lighter on the bike anyways. Like that. So I would say train when it's best for you to train, when you feel great and you put good emphasis. Also at night, there's certain people that can't take cardio at night. You know, it revs them up. So if you do it at night, you have good energy at 8 or 9 o'clock, but then it's going to keep you up to 2 a.m. and you need to wake up at 6. You may feel energetic, but it's not a good call for you. So do it when you're energetic and when your schedule allows it.
All right, last question. Potentially a 2-part question, depending on how you answer the first part. All right. If someone asked you about IHP, what would be your 30-second elevator pitch?
Man, I don't have one. But it's a unique place that has a great philosophy, great training systems, great services. It's a unique experience, and I can't give you the elevator pitch that'll do it justice. That's why we don't have commercials. If I could give anybody a 30-second view of IHP, I would put it in a commercial. I would spend $10,000 on it a month and have it be everywhere. But I can't. I can't. There's nothing. What's the pitch to Mecca? What's the pitch to the Vatican? What's the pitch to the Grand Canyon, for that matter? Oh, you're going to see a big hole. It's just beautiful. It's just majestic. The only time I knew that I was really small and significant was when I stood in the Grand Canyon. That still doesn't tell me anything. Maybe you have a small small view of yourself to begin with, you know? So I don't know. Bottom line is, I don't have that.
It's called JC Unplugged for a reason.
But you guys didn't even let me finish. You guys jump to the nasty conclusion like you always do. You're a bunch of dogs. You must have a very small opinion of yourself. But no, Mr. Here, you know, of course, small. You must have a very small. All
What
right.
you can't see is the rest of the other staff members laughing.
You're right. You're going, oh my God, this has got to go on tape.
All right, so
Our mentor was recording me, and I went into a whole political thing of Trump and the audio that he was heard on, saying stuff that probably a lot of people have said, and I went on the stuff like, what would happen if they would catch you or me in a recording of some drunken stupor from the 80s? Oh my God, would we ever be able to live with ourselves with that coming out? And the answer is no, but I was being a little bit more specific, and it has it on tape. I go, you can keep that, but if you ever show that to anybody, I will make sure that whatever SEAL Team 6 members I have that are still friends will be after me, for sure.
all right, I'm going to ask the other part of this.
All right, ask it.
If someone asked you what functional training is, what would be your 30-second elevator pitch?
Training for specific function, training for an activity. To improve an activity, not necessarily how you look or how a single muscle works. So, functional training is improving a function. What do you want to improve? Tying your shoe, playing tennis, that's what it is.
Got it. Okay, that's it. We'll see you guys in a couple of weeks, I think, for episode 16. Thanks for tuning in. See you in a couple of weeks.